Allora, iniziamo i lavori del pomeriggio. Iniziamo di nuovo i lavori. Sono molto contento di poter presentare, anche se avvertito all'ultimo momento, il leader dei ladri di carrozzelle.
Okay, we're ready to resume, ladies and gentlemen. We'll hear from Ladri di Carrozzelle.
La sua
We will hear the story.
la sua bellissima esperienza.
A wonderful experience.
No, devi riaccenderlo.
We're going to have to turn the mic back on. Thank you.
Perfetto. Allora, dopo tanti interventi grandi,
After so many excellent presentations from experts, I'm a layperson. Mine is an incredible story. For the past 30 years, I've been doing this crazy sort of work with Ladri di Carrozzelle. I never thought I would be doing something like this. I have 10 minutes to sum up what I've been doing for 33 years. That's not easy. 33 years ago, I was a university student, and I was an animator in these tourist villages. Iachetti, Fiorello was in another, all these other musicians and showmen. And one day the director said, we have a group of handicapped persons. That was the word they used at the time. And he said, they have to be part of this animation program. I said, what do you mean? How can that be? That's kind of sad. I'd never seen a person with a disability, so I had no clue. And the director said, it's wonderful. Go and speak to them, and then we'll find an excuse and say, we just can't do this. And I said, okay, great. I went to the bungalows where they were, and there were two twins in a wheelchair right there. And I said, oh my God, how unlucky can that family be, two twins? And when I got closer to them, one of the twins said to the other, I'm going to get up now and beat you up. Now, that was like St. Paul on the road to Damascus. I said, they're crazier than we are, and they were. And that was the core group of Ladri di Carrozzelle. They had muscular dystrophy, which is terrible, it's a progressive disease, and none of them are here any longer. They're either too ill or they've passed away. So we bet on this. We said, can we have a rock group with all people sitting in a wheelchair because of a disability? And that was our wager, that was our bet. And we said we have to play on May 1st in Rome, which is the best concert ever. So we managed to do that. In 1995, we actually managed to play at that May 1st concert in Rome. Now, our other bets, a group of people who wanted to do two things in particular. And I love the Dire Straits, for example. They say money for nothing and cheeks for free. So we wanted to make easy money and pick up girls, pick up chicks. That's what people do when they're in a rock group. So there were 10 of us. 2 were able to stand, the other in a wheelchair, and the 8 in the wheelchair either were engaged or finally got married, believe it or not. If you travel around the world and seize your opportunities, if you feel cool, because I mean that's the issue. Now, you managed to do this. Distrofichetto was the name of the first song. You can be cool even with muscular dystrophy, basically. That's what it meant. Distro cool. Now, not everybody understands self-irony, but that was very important. Now, this work in the band ended at around the year 2000 because the members were ill, and we saw all sorts of things. And all you have to do is travel around Italy, and you'll see this. If you see somebody in a wheelchair with an evident disability, people get very serious right away. No, they stop joking around. You can't make any jokes. Well, we never really cared about that. It was the exact opposite. We have a lot of self-irony, and we've always had this throughout the lifetime of Ladri di Carrozzelle. And we've met people with all sorts of conditions, and we even We even met with Pepe Pepazzo. We said, come on, stand up so people can clap. There he is, there he is.
È il nostro
Stand up,
batterista,
he's our drummer.
Elisa, poi quando poi manda il video non so se sta andando.
I think there's going to be a video shortly.
Quando la prima cosa che ho fatto
So
quando
the
ho
first thing
conosciuto
I
Peppe
did
l'ho
when I met
odiato,
Pepe
perché
was
Peppe stava in
I
mezzo a
hated him
tutto,
because
cioè
he
non era
was
possibile. Dice, "Venuto a trovare un
everywhere.
concerto", noi
He
stavamo
came
facendo
to
proprio
visit
a
us.
Piazza San
We were at a
Giovanni,
concert at
40.000
Piazza San
persone.
Giovanni
Me lo sono trovato nei
nearby.
camerini,
There
me
were
lo sono
thousands of
trovato
people,
sul
tens of
palco, me lo
thousands,
sono
and I
trovato
found
nella
him
sala
on
regia.
stage
Dico,
in the
poi
dressing
m'hanno
room
spiegato
everywhere, and I said,
dell'ipersocialità,
what
però
is
all'inizio
this? And they
volevo
told me about
ammazzare,
his
sempre con amore,
hypersociability. I wanted to kill him.
Ho scoperto
Of course,
che
I love
Peppe
you, Pepe.
musicalmente è una
Now,
bestia,
he's
proprio una
he's
bestia, cioè uno che non
absolutely
sbaglia mai, ma
amazing
soprattutto
when it
non
comes to
sbaglia
music.
perché
He never gets
studia
anything
tanto,
wrong, and
perché
that's
col
because he
papà
studies
Francesco,
hard.
che io
His
adoro,
dad
il
is
papà gli dice
Francesco. I
chiaro,
love him, and his
tutti i
dad
giorni
says you
non
either
mangi.
study every
Io
day or
che
you're
sono
not
dall'altra
getting
parte
anything to
dico,
eat.
se sbagli te
And
colpo del botto
I
sempre
would say
con
to
amore,
him,
perché il
if
mio metodo è
you
molto,
get
sapete
anything wrong, I'll
Sant'Agostino che
beat you
diceva,
up.
no?
But
Ama e fai
again,
ciò che
I
vuoi,
said
quindi
this
io
with
ti amo, ma te colpo del
great
botto lo
love.
stesso, ecco, questo lo sai.
So you know that I love you anyway, but I'm still going to beat you
Abbiamo
up.
cominciato a fare cose
So
pazzesche,
we started
cose
doing the
pazzesche,
crazy
siamo
things
arrivati a
with
Sanremo,
Pepe, and we made it all the way to the Sanremo Song Festival. I like telling the story. When we got to the Sanremo Festival, I mean, the people were skeptical, of course. We were basically invisible, but then in the afternoon we went for rehearsals, and he sat in the seat of the drummer of the Sanremo Orchestra, and they said, what's this poor chap going to do? And yet we rehearsed, no mistakes. We'd been rehearsing for 2 months, and all the members of the orchestra were standing up, the drummer was crying, and we became everybody's favorites, even there in Sanremo. Clearly there was a lot of prejudice, and that's always around all over, but you have to learn to live with it. Now, Pepe went to his hotel room, and 2 minutes later his suitcase blew up and everything was all over the place. So we played every day at all hours, and he was in his room alone, and when we went back, the room hadn't exploded, which was good, and that's because there was a lot of discipline. I was listening carefully earlier. We don't have an answer for everyone, no generalized solution. They have to be customized, personalized, and we had to, picket fence Pepe to keep him under control. We play on Channel 2, the national broadcasters, Channel 3. We have a really good song, and we have to prepare a couple of songs a week. We do that from home. We learned during the pandemic, and Pepe never gets anything wrong. Now, our orchestra conductor is great because he studies. Now, we do this as a job. We've been doing it since 1995, and in order to do that, in order to do a good job, you want people to clap, you want people to enjoy what you do. Now, often it's easy to just applaud, but it isn't always well-deserved. We want to be applauded only when our songs are good and well-prepared and well-played. Now, I must say that before beginning this, I've never worked with anybody in a wheelchair, anyone with a disability. Of course, we always need to be with people who are sensitive, who have strong values to share, and we're here so many years later telling this story. Since we're talking about work, let me just conclude my presentation with a video. We went to a seminar. We weren't able to go, actually. We were invited to this seminar where they talked about work and disabilities. Fortunately, we had a lot of work, so we didn't go, but they prepared this video, and the RAI, National Broadcasting Company, had the idea, in fact, of showing it. This is Pepe with Williams syndrome. What kind of job can they possibly do? Yes, I understand what the problem is, but how many are there in percentage? Who? The handicapped? Yeah, they're good. They're nice. They always say hello when they see you. Oh, sure, let them go and work. Yes, we have one in our class, and he would just flip through the pages of a book and tell you how many pages there were. We didn't even have normal people who had work, so how can we possibly think of them? And they get a pension, and that's our money. There's one a person like that at the market who fixed everything on the shelves. He's very strong and good, he understands everything. I finished my school, but he's still in the second year. Oh, the poor things, they're not all dangerous.
Sono come le persone, no?
They're like people, aren't they? We have some who are willing to commit and others who are just laid back and lazy. There's so many of them around now. They can find a job eventually. What can they possibly do? Maybe make photocopies or perhaps a street sweeper. He doesn't need a university degree. They can wash dishes.
Oh, anche no.
Oh, anche no. That's the title of this video. Giuseppe, the drummer.
Allora, quelli che avete sentito, abbassiamo l'audio, quelli che avete sentito erano attori, ma quelle cose le abbiamo sentite per tanti anni.
That you were hearing, but we've been hearing those comments for years now. We just use actors for the video. What I'm trying to say is that you can do anything you want, but you have to work hard. People forget that. People go to meetings and say, disability is a value. Oh, who believes that? I don't think anybody really wants to have a disabled child. Disabilities are a problem. If you work on them, you can do wonderful things. Now, before the pandemic, we had 5 dates in Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda, and in December, we will be meeting with the ministry, and we might be traveling all over the world. But we were skeptical at first, and yet we did a wonderful job. So you can do whatever you like, but you have to be committed and work hard, and that's how you see the results. Thank you all very much.
Invito l'ambasciatore Zazzo a salire.
We'll move on now with our program.
Allora, adesso arriviamo a una parte interessante della conferenza.
We're about to embark upon a very interesting part of our meeting. I am the Italian representative of the European Association of National Williams Syndrome Associations. We have yearly meetings, and at times we hold conferences via video. We have video calls, and we have exchanges of information and whatnot and experiences. So what we're focusing on is how other European countries are dealing with the concept of social inclusion, the topic of social inclusion, and especially integration at work. So I think it would be very interesting to hear from our colleagues from other countries on this topic. They will tell us about their laws and their experience. I think that there's much to learn by having an information exchange. It is my impression that Italy is already doing quite a bit, but I see that in other countries they've acquired some very interesting experience, and it's interesting to hear from them, especially when it comes to the autonomy of Williams adults. So why don't we begin with the first representative from Argentina. This is a remote presentation.
Forse tra 5 minuti.
Okay, maybe we have to wait 5 more minutes. So.
Oppure vogliamo far parlare qualcun altro?
because we were supposed to start at 2.
Siamo 5 minuti in anticipo.
We started in advance.
Magari iniziamo le 2 in punto.
So we can perhaps just wait a few minutes and start at 2 sharp, and that's when we'll hear from Argentina, Belgium, the Czech Republic, they're here, and Denmark, Switzerland, Spain, and Germany. Okay, so we'll just wait for everybody to catch up. We'll start at 2, as scheduled.
Non so se è già connessa, è già connessa? No, ancora no.
Allora dovete pazientare un attimo, tra pochi minuti. Parole sulla FIUS, abbiamo, come avevo detto prima, incontri annuali.
Okay, we were talking about the fact that we have yearly or annual meetings, and because of COVID, we weren't able to meet last time. In fact, this year we only had an online meeting, and a couple of years ago we met in Novi Sad in Serbia, and we saw that there are many citizens of other European countries that do not have a national Williams Association, and they would be very interested in being members. I think there are huge potentials, but we have to do more. We have to participate more in international conferences even. I remember I went to Brussels once where they have Euroorbis, and then there are other associations like Ithaca, for example. I think we need to strengthen these international ties. This conference has been very useful, I must say. Yesterday we heard from American researchers as well, from Israel, and we always have to make sure we know what the status of the state of the art in scientific research is in other countries, and that way we can compare with what we're doing here. And then, of course, we have the issue of social integration and inclusion in an employment situation. So we'll see if we can learn from other countries, or if other countries have something to learn from us. We're going to wait just 2 more minutes, and then we'll hear from Argentina.
Allora, volevo dire che questo Eurordis è la Federazione Europea delle Malattie Rare.
Eurordis is the European Federation of Rare Genetic Diseases, that is patients' associations, while Ithaca belongs to the European networks, reference networks of centers and diagnostic and treatment centers. So in Europe we have reference networks set up by clinical centers, hospital centers, where you can also see and find patients, but basically it's hospitals, teaching hospital networks, and they are known as ERN, European Reference Networks, and there is an international global movement,
secondo me anche, uno di
and one of them
RDI,
is
Rare Disease International.
Rare Disease International.
Fornirò tutte queste informazioni. Questo è globale.
This is global.
Collabora con Eurordis, ovviamente.
And it collaborates with Eurordis, and it's also a global network.
Ovviamente di Williams, ma le include.
Not specific for the Williams syndrome, but it's including it.
Globale di pazienti, questa RDI.
So this is RDI is a global movement, including also patients and parents. So I think that we should join forces, connect,
con spirito di servizio mi rendo
and with some
perché da tanti anni che collaboro
service
con
spirit,
questi,
I would like to make myself available. I've been cooperating with them for many years, so we can set up some
e poi la cosa che volevo anche
contacts,
sottolineare, per cui ho preso la parola,
facilitated contacts. And then let me also point out one thing. In November 2021, the United Nations signed 193
una risoluzione
countries signed a UN
per i diritti, per
resolution for the rights of people with rare diseases and their families. And this was also including Italy. Italy was one of the signatory countries. And this is to be declined then into the different countries. And apart from the accent placed on diagnosis and treatment, special attention is given to social inclusion, rights to school, to go to school, and achievement at society level, and family. All of the rights are extended to people having rare diseases, but at the same time to the family members as well. And this ONU resolution is a starting point, and that this is what we should lever upon. I would like to thank you. I believe that this is an interesting proposal. Let's keep in touch. There are margins of improvement, because I believe that we should do something more to strengthen the bonds and the connections. You mentioned Ithaca, Eurordis, and international diseases, and then we should also strengthen our knowledge regarding the rules and regulations existing not only in Italy but also in other countries. So let's keep in touch. It is 2 minutes past 2. Let's see if we can have an online connection with Argentina. Then no, it's not Argentina, but it's rather Belgium. Mr. Pick.
Yes, hello.
Salve.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, so I can start?
Yes, you can start.
You can talk. Hello?
Yes, hello. I will start just showing. Okay, you see my screen?
Yes.
Hello, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, they see it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Paul Pick. I'm a delegate for Belgium within FUSE. I'm also the FUSE secretary. And I will give you the labor situation for Williams people in Flanders, which is the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. By the way, this is a picture from the people that have participated to the FUSE camp in Norway in last August. And some of them also will be present in my presentation as they work, and I will explain a bit what they do during the week. So first of all, some general information about labor situation for Williams people in Flanders. Labor is in Belgium, it's a regional responsibility. So as you know, Belgium is a federal country, and labor is one of the regional responsibilities. So there is different way to help people, or regulation may be different in the different parts of Belgium. First of all, most Williams people, adults at least, they go to a day center. So in Belgium, we have people that either live in a residential setting or they live at home. And also in some cases there are protected living situations. But anyway, all these people, most of them at least, they go to a day center with various activities during the week. So typically these are like cooking, doing sports, and also helping in social activities, like in residential settings for elder people or also toddlers. About financial, this financial situation is that all people with disability, they get some money from the government, and with that money they can pay for all these activities that they can do during the week. That costs, of course, some money, and it means that also it depends on the situation of the adults, how much money they get. So it means, especially because there is always a shortage of money from the government, so it means that especially the younger adults may sometimes have insufficient money to pay for all these activities. Now what we see in the past, it was almost only going to a day center with various activities. What we see now more and more is that they try to combine these activities with other supervised work in different places. There are only a few Williams syndrome people that I know that have paid work. So that's rather exceptional for Williams people. Government has a lot of incentives to activate people with disability for paid labor. I won't go into the details here, but because actually in reality for Williams people it's really an exception. But anyway, there are some incentives from the government to promote that. And then if you go to other incentives and other possibilities, what we see is that accredited care providers, and these are the people that are operating residential settings for people with disability, and they are also operating day centers. They are also permanently looking for opportunities for supervised work, at least for those people that are eligible for such work. Because of course, depending on the disability that one has, that's a possibility or not a possibility. For example, to have supervised work, it's typically at a different location than the day center, so people must be able to independently go to that location with public transport or by foot or by bicycle or any other way. We also see that there are some private initiatives to set up useful and payable activities for their children. These are typically organized or initiated at least by the parents, and then they try to find help from accredited care providers in doing these activities. Also what I've seen is that to find these supervised work opportunities, they are typically found in the social care sector. And if it is in a different area, then typically the bosses of these companies are very socially engaged. And to prove or to show all this, I have now a number of examples of Williams adults that we have in Flanders and the type of activities that they are doing. The first one is Annemie. She is 30 years old and she goes all week to a day center. And you can see on the photos the different activities that she's doing, like cleaning a car, then sports, going to the market and doing shopping, painting and so on. The next one is Bart. He is 35 years old and he also goes to different day centers. He's actually fascinated by the fireman, and in this picture, this picture here shows that he is helping in leading a prevention exercise at the fire brigade. And then last example is that he's playing very well accordion, and he is every week he goes to a residential care center for elder persons, and there he plays for these elderly, and he likes it very much. He enjoys it tremendously to do that. Tiffany is 33 years old and she also goes to a day center, and then she goes also to a dance school once a week and she helps in children daycare. Then Thomas is 31 years old. Actually, that's my son. And he goes 3.5 days to a day center. Then 1 day in the week, he goes to a shop where he fills the shelves. So these are these two pictures here. Where is my cursor? Okay, the two left pictures. And then also half a day a week he goes to the circus school, which he enjoys as well, because this gives a lot of creativity. Martin is 30 years old, and you can see here all his program during the week. He's also much fascinated by music, like many Williams people. And as you can see, he's playing drum and guitar, so he goes also following guitar lessons and playing a lot on the drum. What's also important, Martin can drive very well with his bicycle. It means that he goes to every place, and there are many different places he goes to. He goes always by bike, typically 1 to 5 kilometers from home. And then Simon is 26 years old. In his case, his mother and a group of other parents have established an association which is called Windkracht, and they try to organize useful and payable activities for their children. And especially they focus on a link with the local community. So they go, for example, working at a farm, also to clean up in the community, and they can make use of the canteen at the local football, and as a to compensate for that, they help in cleaning up the football canteen and everything around the football stadium. Okay, so these were a number of examples, and to conclude, we can say that in Flanders, most Williams syndrome adults, they do mainly activities in day centers, and paid work is very rare for them. What I see, especially with my son, that is that integration in a regular work environment, like in the shop where he's working, requires that the employers are open to that kind of supervised work. It's not always easy to find such employers. The real advantage of having supervised work in let's say a regular work environment is that it helps to participate Williams syndrome adults in the real society. They get more appreciation, and also they get much more self-esteem, and it really helps them to be more lucky. That's my experience with my own son, and that's also what I hear from other parents in our association. So that's a short overview for Belgium. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Thanks. Avete delle domande? Qualcuno? Allora, non ci sono domande, continuiamo. Parliamo adesso la rappresentante della Repubblica Ceca.
The Czech Republic representative.
Dalla Norvegia? No, Danimarca. Danimarca.
Denmark is up next.
Turn on. Yeah. Hi, I'm Mette. I'm from Denmark. At the left side you can see a picture of Europe, and it's the small blue spot on top of Germany. We are 5.8 million people in Denmark. We have one government, 5 regions, and we have 98 city councils with mayors. And for every mayor, we have a council of 4 representatives from patients' organizations that meets up with the local politicians once a month. We have 50,000 living with some kind of special needs. In Denmark, we have had contact with 400 people living with Williams syndrome for the last 20 years, and we have about 200 members in our association. Yeah, so in the 60s, our young people with special needs lived in institutions, and they had no contacts to others. Some didn't even have contacts to their family. In the 70s and the 80s, there came a focus on normalization and integration, but they still lived in these institutions. In 1995, there came a law that made an early retirement pension possible, and the goal was to make them give them economic equality. In 1998, there came a law on social services, and they wanted to separate this institution concept. And what this law on social service meant was that they recommended that no one should work and live in the same institution. They also opened up for the government funding a social economic enterprise, and I'll come back to that. In 1999, there was a lot of social enterprises starting up in Denmark, and I will tell you more about it. I took my daughter along with me. My name is Mette. Her name is Maggie. She's 23 years old and has Williams syndrome. She lives in her own apartment in a protected environment. She pays taxes. 47% each month she pays in tax. After her taxes, she gets 2,000 euros in pensions. She gets a salary, 36 euros. It's not much, but it's a symbolic gesture. She pays 1,060 euros for her housing. This includes washing of her clothes and cleaning and food. She pays 56 euros for transportation. She takes the public bus and she takes trains all over Denmark. These social economic enterprises are a place where you can work and educate people with special needs. Now, yeah, this is Greenwich. This is Greenwich Minne. This is where my daughter works. She goes there 4 days a week from 8 until 2. At Greenwich Minne, she gets lunch every day. They provide her with clothing and proper shoes. They are a lot of caretakers, and they have some different lines. You can choose what you want to work with. The salary she gets, it's from Greenwich Minne. It's a paid labor. They have a gardening line where they make vegetables. And there's a famous restaurant called Noma. It has been the world's best restaurant 4 times. And they get their tomatoes from Greenwich Minne. They also have this animal line, and you can see my daughter in the right picture with her small horse Lulu. Maggie's work is to take Lulu for a walk every day. She has to feed the animals, and she has to talk with the rabbits, the turtles, the alpacas, the cows, the pigs, and so whatever they are. She has no heavy lifting because they have some other boys with special needs who need the physical work, so Maggie is the caretaker for the animals. They also have a nature line where they preserve the area. They also make a very great honey. They have a service line where they renovate the buildings. They learn how to work with tree wood. They have a very nice cafe where you can come, sit down, have some coffee, have something to eat. They make food, so the lunch that Maggie gets every day, they make it themselves from the gardens, the vegetables in the gardens and some of the chickens. And you can also buy this very healthy takeaway, so you can go there as a family, stay at the cafe, talk with the animals, buy some takeaway for dinner, and so on. They also have a very nice bakery, and they do a lot of workshops. At the top, you can see a glass dome, and in that glass dome, I have been to parties and conferences because companies can rent it. I have also been there for workshops where I learned how to make a healthy salad with flowers picked in their garden. It's all ecological, so there's no poison to be spread. And I've also learned how to make flower bouquets there. So this is just one of the places you can work. And they have about 300 paid laborers, young people with special needs working there. The next place I would like to show you, it's called the Glad Fagskolen. And glad actually means happy. So this is the Happy School. Here they have a television line, and they actually they made the world's first television channel for people with special needs. They have a radio station. They have a theater. And if you can spot again in the bottom, I think it's on the right, you can see my daughter with a big M on her stomach. It was because when she finished school, you get 3 years of special education in Denmark. And my daughter said, I would like to become an actress. And they said, yes, you can become an actress, and she went to this Glad Fagskolen, and she got an education. When she was finished, she found out that there was a lot of shows and performing at the evening, because it's a theater, and you can go there as a public person, buy a ticket, and watch these great shows. So she found out, this wasn't me, Mom, because I would like to take the train and the bus home, and it's a little bit dark. So I said, okay, let's try something else, and I talked with our Maggie's caretakers, and they said, let's do something else. So she ended up working with the animals. At the picture, you can also see Diana. She's the love black and yellow. She also has Williams syndrome. She has a work at the animation line. She is a Snapchat, Snapchat coordinator, and in the top left picture you can see Diana interviewing Matthias with Williams syndrome at a music concert for the television channel. They also have a design line where they can make clothes and jewelries. They can make posters and web pages. They have a real zoo where you can go as a public and see the animals. And they also make food you can buy, and to provide the workers there with a good lunch and also a good breakfast. They also have a really big commitment into getting some of the young people into working in different companies and shops. So they do quite a big job. This Happy Fagskolen, they have 6 departments spread over Denmark, and this one where Maggie was just in the center of our capital, Copenhagen. What we found out in Denmark, we have these places, these social, economical enterprises all over Denmark. So we have no people with Williams syndrome that are unemployed. They are all in paid labor. It's not a big salary they get, but they get the pension. So they can pay for their own apartments, they can pay for their food, they can pay for their transportation and insurance and so on. We don't see much problem with anxiety, and sometimes I think maybe there's a connection that when you go somewhere 4 days a week and you are used and your abilities can be used, maybe it provides a healthy mind. When Maggie is not at work, every Monday she has a home day at her apartment where there are some caretakers there helping her to get her clothes washed, to go shopping because she has to make the dinner for 5 of them for the evening. and so on. So she has a very calm life, and I would wish it for all in the whole Europe. I hope you can take some of this example and take it with you. And it's what we have learned. We have actually learned one thing. When we take our young people or adults with Williams syndromes out to work in shops, then lifting the really heavy things, also lifting from the horses' stables, all the garbage, they get really stressed of this heavy weight lifting. So none of our people are working with anything heavy. Most of them works with something they really like to do. And thank you for inviting me.
Are there any questions?
Anyway, the very positive example, in my view. Thanks a lot. Let's go to the Czech Republic. If you want to say something? It's online? Ah, she's online. Ah, good, it's not you. Okay, sorry. Okay. Welcome. I give you the floor.
Hello, I hope you can hear me. Do you have my presentation, or should I screen it on my computer? Can we hear each other?
Yeah, yes.
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 Okay. Hello, everybody. Today I would like to present about the labor market in the Czech Republic. So from 2004, the people with disabilities have the right to have a support when transitioning to the labor market. And if you are a company that has more than 25 employees, you are obliged to employ people with disability. If you don't do that, you can also buy products or I put the slides to the full screen. Can you see the full screen? No. Okay. So I'll share. Now it should be working.
We see the slide, yeah?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So if you don't employ the people with disabilities, you can buy products or services from daycare centers or companies that employ more than 50% of people with disabilities. Or if you don't do this either, you can pay a fee, which is quite high. If you want to transfer to the labor market, you have to register at the labor office, and the labor office helps you with searching for the job, and they actually pay to set up a special job for a person with disability up to 75%, and the only condition is that the employment has to last at least 3 years. You also have the right for vocational rehabilitation, which is special training. can get special courses to gain skills to find the appropriate job. It's also for free. In the Czech Republic, you can be employed on the free labor market or in the protected employment, which means that it's more than 50% of employees with disabilities. Except from the labor office, you can get support from non-profit organizations. Here you can see the biggest one in the Czech Republic. And also these non-profit organizations provide transitional program. Here you can see my brother. Last year of your high school, you can join this program, and usually 1 day a week, you go to a regular work where you learn how to work. It's gaining the habits, the skills. There's an assistant there which goes with you until you learn how to work on by yourself. And it usually lasts for half of a year. And if you're happy, you can stay in this job, or you can find something else. My brother was in a car wash, and he was cleaning the cars because he likes cars. Some of the boys who were in the program too, they went to clean the hockey stadiums or football stadiums because they were a fan of our hockey team. There were people who went to botanical garden. It depends on your hobbies. Well, it's nicely written on the paper. Of course, it's not as easy in practice. So usually the employment is coordinated by these non-profit organizations because the labor office isn't working very well in this area. And the other problem is that these organizations are usually in big cities, so it's much harder to find a job when you live in a small village. And also companies are not very willing to hire people with disabilities because they don't really know people with disabilities. And now our adults who go to work. This is Martin. He works at the Archaeological Institute. He works there from spring to autumn because it's a seasonal job, and he cleans the artifacts that they find. And he works with his father. During the winter, he's home and helps with the household. Then we have Pavel. He loves cooking, so when he was younger, he wanted to be a cook. So he went to school, and after school, he managed to find work at KFC altogether with one of the non-profit organizations that were mentioned earlier. And he's been working there for 10 years. He switched to different franchise. He was in one before, and now he's in another one. He says that sometimes it's a bit stressful, but he's really good at it, and he does this work really precisely. So he's happy there. This is Thomas. This is my brother. So after the traineeship at the car wash, he started working in the textbook warehouse. It was also found by a non-profit organization, and this is a protected workplace. Most of the people have different kind of disability, and he helps getting orders, or if the order comes in, he put the books into the correct place. He wraps the books, then to have some kind of change at work, so he cleans around the area, and in the winter when it's not the textbook season, they grow green plants, and then they sell it. He's been working there for a second year, and he's also very happy to be there. Then this is Jacob. Once a week he serves in a cafe, which is also a protected workplace. This is one of the most common way how to get a job as a person with disability. And it's said here that when he is on duty, the cafe is always crowded. So he has a lot of friends. He's really friendly. So it's nice that people come there and see him work. And our last member, this is Thomas. He's 50 years. This is actually our eldest member, and he's been working in a printing factory for 26 years. He joined a few months ago, so we don't know more about it. But due to the increasing health problems, he had to stop the work. A last word, we have about 90 members, but 75% are up to 18 years old, so we don't have many adults with Williams syndrome, so this is basically most of our adults with Williams syndrome. So thank you for your attention. If you have any questions,
thank you very much. Very interesting. Avete domande per caso?
Are there any questions for this presenter?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, I don't think we have any, then thank you again.
Excellent. No.
Buongiorno a tutti. Il mio italiano.
Good morning, everyone. I must say my Italian is not very good.
Hope this is fine for you. Can I forward here? I need my presentation. Sì, Maria l'ha ottenuto. I meant it. We are waiting for my presentation to be set up. I thought the Secretaria Maria obtained it, but it's not there. Otherwise, I'm going to open my computer. It's on there, but I'm not really sure how to hook it up with your system.
Can you send it by email to...
Yeah, but I need to open up my system, my computer as well.
We can change when you can...
Oh, you have it. It's on the Williams, on the Fuse email. I mailed it to everybody. Yeah, that's perfect. Very good idea. So Pier Francesco is asking me some questions, and I might as well respond to everybody during the waiting time. So the Swiss Association was founded 22 years ago. I'm a founding member. I'm the vice president, and my husband is sitting over there. He is also a founding member. His name is François. My name is Suzanne. We have a daughter, Floriane. She's 20 years old, and I wanted to show you, once the slides are up there, a little bit of the survey I undertook this summer. I asked our members what kind of jobs they do, how they feel in their jobs, and some more questions, and it's much easier to see it on the slides. So to respond to Pier Francesco, we have 90 members, approximately 90 member families in our Swiss Association, and 35 of those members are over 18. And I surveyed this summer in writing those 35 members. Oh, that is something. No? So, Pier Francesco, any other question you'd like to know in advance?
They're trying to find Maria Franzè.
Okay.
She's not here. Maybe we can, in the meanwhile, if you're not.
Alberto, were you able to send the presentation from our Fuse? Yes, you found it. Okay. So maybe to resume what I said, we have.
To resume what I said, we have 35 members. Oh, there we go. Can I move it into the broadcasting mode from here? Yes, thank you so much. Wonderful. So just to resume a little bit, should it switch it over to on the green? Pier Francesco, I need your help. The green is... I need some more technical help. Can I switch it over with
Hi,
the
Suzanne,
green?
it's Paul here. I'm sharing now my screen with your presentation.
That's fine. And how can
So if you just tell me when I have to continue to the next slide.
Okay, I have to tell you. Yeah, then please continue to the next slide.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you don't. Do you see it now? No. Okay. Technical question once again to show it to the audience. good. So to resume, the FUSE members, so Switzerland is going to become a formal FUSE member tomorrow, but I'm attending the FUSE meetings for some time now. And back in May, the question was made by, or the request was made by Pier Francesco that those members who wanted are going to inform this audience about the access to the labor markets of individuals with Williams syndrome. So, as I told you, I decided to survey our members, our 35 members of our association, who are between 18 and 51 years old. I performed this survey between July and September this year. I got only 12 responses, so you see, rare disease, rare answers, rare respondents, that's always like that. So it's not a statistical group to be extrapolated. There is always some bias with it, of course. So 9 respondents were German-speaking, 2 only French-speaking, and 1 was Italian-speaking, or is Italian-speaking. And members did not respond themselves, but their parents or family members responded. I asked them 11 questions we are going to discover. And if you go to the next page, please. So this is all the answers, all the questions, and all the respondents on one sheet. So you're not supposed to read it. It's an Excel sheet. In my professional life, I love to work with Excel sheets. So you see in the top front line all the questions. I'm going to walk you through in a while. And on the first, or in the first left column, you see all the respondents between 52 and 22 years old and their first names, and I indicated them in descending age, order of descending age. So the questions were, on top you see the question 1 and 2. These are school questions. What kind of school did you attend? I decided to start the survey before the people are really entering their working environment. Did you get any early support? What kind of kindergarten, primary school, and secondary school did you attend? We're going to go to the results pretty soon. Then number 3, 4, and 5, it's about vocational training, professional training. 6 and 7, is the job situation. 7, I'm sorry, is the social security invalidity pension situation. 8 is housing situation. 9 and 10 is how do you like your work life, how you like your job, do you want to change, and of course 11 additional comments. The thing I want to show you here is the color code does have some meaning. So you see a quite homogeneous color in actually every question. That means that the responses were very similar. If you go over to the next slide, please. So for schools attended, very homogeneous situation. Early support for 6 out of 12 individuals, and then primary school, secondary school, and special school, in any case, special education. So in Switzerland, especially for those individuals which are a little bit older, 52 and I would say up to 30 or 28, as my daughter's age is, there was mostly social integration for schools, but usually those individuals attended a special education work stream, I would say. So there is not yet a lot of inclusion. The younger individuals now are mostly in usual community schools with specific training on top, and specific needs and help on top. Next page, please. For this survey, I was really interested to know, did you attend vocational or specific professional training? That is question 3. They all attended, and it was mostly training on the job with their first employers, with their employers. The next question was, did you get an attestation or a diploma when finishing your training? And the interesting thing I learned here, that 2 out of 12 had a 1-year training with a diploma, and 2 other ones had a 2-year training, for instance, as industry practitioners with a diploma. And all the others, as my daughter, they did not have an examination, an attestation, or any diploma at the end of their training. I discovered that the Swiss law, the social law, actually has a framework to allow for the 1 or 2 year training with a diploma. But obviously, practically speaking, especially for those aged maybe 25 and over, it's not really put into place yet. I also asked under question 5, what other trainings did you attend? And 2 out of 12 attended an autonomy school. So that was referred to, I guess, this morning as a autonomy academy. So you learn to live in your own apartment, look for your household, some basic financial information, cleanliness, how to take care of yourself and others. So that is usually a 2-year training, and it really helps people to live in their own housing situation. If you would switch over to the next slide, please. So that is the job situation. So it's mostly blue, some light blue, which means it is work in a secondary labor market. It's sheltered workshops. Some are more production sheltered workshops, industry production, packaging, this kind of little industrial work types. And the others, and I think from the answers, the majority works in other sheltered workshops, which are more handicraft work. For instance, my daughter used to work for 7 years in a textile workshop, doing weaving on very big handicraft weaving. I don't know exactly how you say that in English, Webstühle in German. And then she switched over 3 years ago to a leather manufacturing, where they do handicrafts, very nice leather work bags and other leather hand-produced goods. So the situation is very stable. As you see, most of the individuals did not even change their workshop, so it stays blue the same time. 2 color-coded in lighter blue. Those 2 individuals are working in an occupational daycare center. According to the answers, what I learned here is that some Williams syndrome people are difficult to assess, and the first one, and also individual here, down here, they felt overwhelmed in their more production-like workplace. they were then not able to cope anymore, and they had to change to a less stressful environment, sometimes in the same institution, or they then changed the institution. And the yellow little field here is my daughter doing also additional activities. Sometimes she is selling the goods they produce in her workplace every 2 weeks in a shop where you can buy all the handicrafts, and with quite little assistance. So she is really into the interaction with the customers. So that's a very nice thing. And she also, from time to time, works in a large Swiss association institution to transform legal texts or official texts into easy speech. And I think that is also something which she really likes. Then the gray column is about the Social Security. I wanted to know if everybody of these individuals received Social Security, basic Social Security, and yes, they do. Would you please go to the next slide? I was interested to know the housing situation, and you see in pink, the first column, these are individuals living with their family. So you see the younger ones mostly live with their family. And the blue ones in column 8, they live usually within their institution at the workplace. So one speaker before said there is a segregation. I think you said it, right? That you have two institutions, the workplace and the housing. And actually in Switzerland, to my knowledge, and from what the respondents said, it is always integrated. So of course they do not physically live at the same place, but the housing and the apartments are within the same institution and organized by it. Next slide, please. So that's an important question, number 9. How do you like your work on a scale, or your job on a scale from 1 to 10? And 9 out of 10 said, yes, we really appreciate it, or very, very well. And question 10 was, would you like to work somewhere else, change the job? One wanted to become a farmer and drive a tractor. And another one mentioned that he wanted in the past to leave his job and become a street musician. And 8 out of 9 respondents here do not consider changing their job. And there were some additional comments made. This was the comment I already mentioned. Especially one individual was unable to cope with the work pressure in the institution she worked for, because the professional and social capabilities are difficult to assess, and the people or this person easily felt overloaded, overwhelmed, and then needed to reduce her workload. Sometimes this is not possible. The institutions do not want to give a free day or 2 free days or afternoons, so they have to change to a more flexible institution. So that is a little bit my second bullet point here. There are 2 out of 12 respondents working at reduced workloads. One person had a double diagnosis. In addition to Williams syndrome, he suffers from autism, and this is getting things more complex. And several respondents also said there were individuals suffering from depression. So, generally speaking, if you could go to the second slide again. Yes, that's the full picture. Thank you very much. That's the perfect one. So it's a very homogeneous situation, and very few want to change their workplaces, and most of them are quite happy with the situation they are in. Thank you very much for your attention, and please put forward any questions.
An important, interesting comment. Everyone likes to work. It's really very important for them to work. I think this. Sono domande?
Do we have any questions for this presenter? If we don't, then maybe we can move on to Argentina, because I think that Argentina is now ready.
Hello? Yes, we see you. Non funziona.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good afternoon for you. We want to show you a video made by two young people of our association in Argentina that will tell you their experiences in the labor place. Sorry, but the video is in Spanish. Maybe it's very difficult to understand what they say, but well, what can we do? I will try to share the window to you.
We here now,
Hello? Yes, you can see the video when I share the window.
We see the video, but we can't hear the voice.
Okay, I will try again. Sorry.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Elisa Ulloa Yusti, soy socia honoraria de la Asociación Argentina de Síndrome de Williams y desde hace más de 10 años soy la presidenta.
Now you can hear the sound in the last share.
We heard at the beginning, then now we don't see anymore the video.
Well, I tried again, sorry.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Alicia Ulquiara-Yusti, soy socia honoraria de la Asociación Argentina del Síndrome de Williams y desde hace más de 10 años soy la presidenta. Ante todo, quiero agradecer a la Asociación Italiana del Síndrome de Williams, en especial al señor Leopoldo Torlonia, con quien nos une una relación de más de 20 años, para brindarnos la oportunidad de participar en esta conferencia internacional sobre el síndrome de Williams. La Asociación Argentina del Síndrome de Williams es una asociación civil sin fines de lucro, la primera en su tipo en Latinoamérica, constituida con el propósito de dar apoyo a las personas con este síndrome y a sus familias. Ya venía desarrollando esa tarea desde el año 1999. Deseamos compartir con este auditorio el testimonio de dos de nuestros jóvenes que les compartirán sus experiencias en el ámbito laboral. Muchas gracias.
Mi nombre es Tamara, tengo 32 años y vivo en la provincia de Buenos Aires, San Martín.
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Me llamo Nacho, vivo en Santos Lugares. Contanos de tu trabajo.
Bueno, trabajo en migraciones actualmente, en el archivo de clasificación de datos. Cumplo el horario de 9 a 3 de la tarde. Contanos de tu trabajo.
Yo trabajo en una empresa que se llama GDN y viajo en colectivo, me tomo 2 colectivos, el 123 y el 111 para llegar, y para volver el 111 y el 123.
Muy bien. Yo me tomo el tren.
Qué bueno.
El tren que va de Concepción Flores directamente a Retiro.
Qué bueno.
Y eso me deja muy bien. Trabajo de lunes a viernes.
¿Te costó conseguir el trabajo?
No, porque yo me lo dieron en el colegio. Yo al principio hacía pasantías ahí, iba a los martes, iba a los jueves y después quedé efectiva. Después que terminé el secundario quedé efectiva.
Ah, bien.
¿Te costó conseguirlo vos?
Y costó, pero gracias a Dios pude conseguir y voy 8 años en la empresa. Soy la cara de la empresa cuando entran en trabajo. Soy la primera persona que ven. Voy muy bien.
Qué bueno.
That's really cool.
Hay que aclarar que los dos somos de Argentina.
No, sí, obvio. Hay que aclarar eso.
Yeah, of course.
Eso que somos de Argentina.
Argentina, sí.
¿En qué consiste lo que haces? ¿En qué consiste?
Archivo de clasificación de datos de los inmigrantes.
Y lo mío consiste en ser recepcionista, o sea,
atender a la gente cuando entra al puerto.
Es exacto así, sí. Atiendo a la gente, mando internos, controlo que nada quede fuera de lugar, todo. ¿Y qué haces?
What do you do?
¿Y qué es eso? ¿Y qué es eso? ¿Cómo? Explica un poquito más.
Pues
Sí, los inmigrantes en 2007, 90, dejaban los papelitos de las entradas y la salida del país. Lo hacían por barco, por avión o por colectivo. Y esos papelitos se los tenemos que doblar para tenerlos, o sea, acomodarlos. Pero actualmente, como pasó lo de la pandemia, como pasó lo que todos saben, yo estoy haciendo otro trabajo, me renovaron, me pusieron a hacer otra cosa. Que es...
¿Otra cosa o...?
Do you like this new thing?
Sí.
Yes.
Que es poner los papelitos, pero de mes, por meses.
Now I classify the papers by month.
O sea, de enero hasta diciembre.
From January to December.
Yo, para que la gente entienda bien qué es lo que hago, por ejemplo, yo estoy con la
What I do.
y viene una persona y me saluda, hola, ¿cómo va?
Hey, how are you?
O me llaman, ¿qué te puedo ayudarte?
Can I help you
Ok, ya te pasó.
Sure, and I put you through.
Y listo, manda a la persona. O a veces me voy a un lado a ver que todo esté ordenado,
I go
a ver si
around and
falta
check
algo
that
para
everything is
anunciar,
correctly organized
lo otro, aquello, listo,
here and there.
lo anuncio. Por Zoom y ya está, o por mail.
And then I confirm either through Zoom or through mail.
Hay muchos inmigrantes.
Are there a lot of immigrants?
Sí, en la actualidad hay un montón. Ahí en Migraciones está el museo y actualmente vienen a comer todo tipo de inmigrantes y vienen a recorrer el museo tanto inmigrantes como chicos de diferentes escuelas.
And also people from
Yo
different...
atiendo clientes por un montón, todos los días, no hay un día en que no atienda a ninguno. Los viernes son los días más tranquilos, más tranquilos. El otro viernes era silencio absoluto. Los lunes, martes, miércoles y jueves son los días más movidos.
Wednesday, Thursdays are the...
Llegan así al toque, se va uno, entra otro, se va uno, entra el otro, así. Y para colmo, que cuando entra uno ya me llama alguien, así que digo, espera un segundo.
And there's one that leaves, but then there's another one that comes in, so...
¿Qué te puedo ayudar?
How can I help you?
Así, todos los días es así.
All the time, every day like that.
¿Y te dan regalos?
And do they give you gifts?
No.
A mí te dan, no, a mí tampoco.
No, to me neither.
¿Qué pregunta? No. Y hablando de inmigrantes, hay venezolanos en mi trabajo, hay de todo, de todo. Sí, también
español, italiano, francés,
¿sabes? Idioma, ya que estás hablando de inmigrantes, ¿se te quedó algún idioma en esa visa grabado?
No, me gustaría aprender, siempre dije que me gustaría aprender inglés, me gustaría mucho aprender inglés. O hacer el curso, porque hacen cursos en migraciones de diferentes idiomas.
¿Cómo te llevas con tus compañeros? ¿Cómo te llevas con tu...
Bien, al principio fue difícil, complicado, porque me veían con nosotros otro concepto, pues me quedaba dejando.
Bueno, a mí también, hice muy bien con mis compañeros. No hay ninguno que no me lleve mal. Aprendo mucho de ellos y ellos de mí, así sucesivamente. De ellos y de ellos aprende de mí. Así. Somos un buen equipo. ¿Alguna vez te discriminaron?
Were you ever discriminated at work?
Sí, al principio de empezar a trabajar.
When I started working?
No, a mí yo, por suerte, no me han dicho nada.
I was never said anything. All of them are really cool.
Pero ese es que te conoce, yo creo que la
That's until I get to know you. Then afterwards, everything.
¿Cómo aprendiste a hacer el trabajo? ¿Te guió alguien?
How did you learn to do it?
Me guiaron mis compañeros.
My co-workers were the ones.
A mí me
guiaron mis compañeros y
my colleagues were the ones.
Y me dieron una mano a aprender. Al principio no me costó.
It was not hard. It was easy.
Aprendimos rápido.
And then like
pasó lo mismo a mí. Al principio no entendía, pero al día siguiente entendía y al día siguiente ya estaba.
Sí, yo también, Ahora mismo.
Siempre mejorando, siempre queriendo mejorar de a poco.
Sí, lo mejor.
Siempre. A mí me encanta trabajar. ¿Y a vos te gusta trabajar?
Sí, a mí me gusta.
Yeah, I like it as well.
A mí no me cansa ni un día. Ni energía, ni bostezo, ni queja, ni me quejo, nada. Ni siquiera me quejo. Yo trabajo de lunes a viernes 4 horas.
I work from Monday to Friday, 4 hours a day, from 8 to 12. Do you work a lot? How many
De lunes a viernes.
From Monday to Friday?
Y de 3 a...
From 3?
No, de 9 de la mañana a 3 de la
From
tarde.
9 to 3.
¿Dónde comés vos?
Where do you have lunch?
En el comedor de migraciones o a veces como en la oficina.
Either at the office or sometimes we share the canteen from the
justo para
since I live close by, I sometimes eat at home. I go straight home and I eat there.
A mí me avisan cuando aparece el sueldo.
Sí, a mí también.
They also tell me when I get my salary through an email that I
Donde
get
están los remitos y todo. Yo tengo el certificado de discapacidad, así que si es por viajar, viajo con eso. Con certificado
no manejo otra tarjeta porque la SUBE todavía no me la saqué porque tengo el pase, pero se me vence ahora en diciembre el pase. Así que me la tengo que sacar porque van a dar un lapso hasta que hagan una junta, que se junten y lo hablen de vuelta del cuánto se nos dan, me renuevan el pase, pero tengo que saber.
Claro. Acá yo uso el certificado de discapacidad para
also takes the handicap. He shows it to the driver and
Se me vence igual. Los chicos de ahí de retiro me conocen, me deja pasar sin mostrárselo.
Tamara is saying that they already know, and sometimes she doesn't.
de mano.
Sí, ya saben que soy yo. Entonces Tamara, ¿viste? Y es como que, bueno, le abrimos la puerta para que se van a...
Ábrelo, aquí Tamara.
Tamara, wait.
Claro.
Let's get down.
Eso, ¿cuánto caminas cuando bajas del tren?
How long do you walk?
Camino 15
You get off the train. Like 10 minutes more.
Yo me camino
Around.
todo el playón para llegar, porque la oficina está dentro
The office
Sí, es un playón muy grande, que la gente lo sepa.
so that people get to know.
Muy grande, o sea, camino ligero.
I walk fast.
No siempre llego muy temprano,
I always make it early to make sure that I'm on time.
La otra vez,
Hoy llegué 8:30.
Today I got there.
7 y algo, pero bien.
After saying that today he got there around
¿Y
7.
vos vas contenta a trabajar?
And are you happy to go to work? Yes.
Sí, recontra.
Always.
Yo también. Que te voy así.
Super.
Estoy escuchando música.
Listen to music.
Claro, otro auricular escuchando música, me pongo música, me distraigo, me relajo.
¿Y música para
Get
trabajar?
ready to work.
Sí.
Do you work with music? Yes.
No, sí, pongo música para trabajar, me relaja, eso como que me calma un poco.
That relaxes me when I do my work. It lowers my
Yo
anxiety.
claro, depende de la hora que venga el colectivo. Eso depende del colectivo. A veces tarda, a veces llega bien.
Depends on when the bus stops.
Y yo salí hoy 3:20 y llegué 4:20 acá, así que una horita, 40 minutos en llegar.
Entonces estaba 12:15 más o menos. 12:15 y más o menos ahí ya estaba atrás del que se fue.
Today when I left the office at 12,
Atrás del que se fue ya estaba el
bus already back.
No tardó tanto en llegar a casa.
It didn't take long.
Fue por el camino, el 123 toma ese del ómnibus, ese que es para tomar atajos. Bueno, bueno, y es lo que trabaja todos los días nuestros, levantarnos temprano con alegría para motivar, y es así, motivar a la gente, alentar a la gente a la que está con cara de...
Motivate the people that are with.
Eso.
Me quedó muy bien.
El para que no bien y el para que está muy bajoneado.
Le ponemos música y le ponemos bachata o...
No, se escucha mucho.
Le ponemos bachata o le ponemos cuarteto y lo sacamos a bailar para que se levante el ánimo un poco.
Un poco de rock.
También.
Bachata o rock.
Pero tranqui. En tu trabajo hay personas así como con síndrome de William.
Are there other people with Williams syndrome?
Hay que, pero diferentes...
There are other ones
Tienen diferentes síndromes.
different syndromes.
O sea, no...
De mi trabajo soy el único.
My job, I'm the only one.
Sí, yo también, de mi trabajo soy
No he visto otro conocido, soy el único.
I'm the only one.
Yo les diría que no se rindan, que sigan esforzándose, no rendirse.
Surrender, keep on fighting.
Si no encuentran trabajo, mañana se van a buscar. Si yo
waiting for work, and then make sure that they pay for it.
Pero vayan a buscar, que se esfuercen por conseguir
Make the
lo
effort.
que quieren.
They will make
Te
it.
entiendo.
I'm with you.
Bueno, Tami, nos despedimos, saludamos a lo de Italia.
Sí.
Bye.
Adiós, cuídense.
Adiós.
Bye. Take care.
Well, thank you to
Finished.
Okay, thank you very much for the explanation. And well, I want you to enjoy this video.
Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Now it's the turn of Spain. Since after Spain we have Germany, and finally the former president of FUSE, John Lowell, will just send us a video from United Kingdom.
Hi everyone again. So my name is Alberto. I'm coming from Spain. I'm actually the representative of the Spanish Association towards the FUSE, but I'm not the president of the association, so there are other ones. Basically, because of the camps, I've been involved for years now, and it was a bit of a natural sort of development, I guess. I will show you some slides on the employment program that we have as an association. So it's not really about the law, how it is in Spain, but taking a bit the insights that I got from the other colleagues or from countries. Basically, I guess all of you know the sensitive situation that we have when it comes to jobs in Spain, which makes it even more difficult to then have an inclusion of disabled people into the job market. The only thing that we have, there are no governmental programs that are promoting the inclusion of disabled people into the job market. What they have are some sort of fiscal incentives for companies in order to then employ. But the issue is that when it comes to efficiency, then the companies at the end of the day, then they are not interested in having those people, which is a real challenge. And that is why, us internally, we decided to make that. You will see a couple of partnerships in order to make sure that at least we had something for our people, because, otherwise it would have been very, very hard. Maybe to give you the background, so in Spain we have about 250 Williams families. Either families with individuals with Williams syndrome. The only thing is that just as Lenka from the Czech Republic said, the majority of them are below 18. So in the end, the people that can benefit from this program are about, let's say, 100 or a bit less than 100. Just to give you the background, so basically in 2010, we had one of the newcomers into the association, was one of the, he was actually the country manager of the French company Kiavi, and then he was also part of the board of the Spanish association. So then he really saw the potential of eventually coming up with such an agreement in which then we could incorporate the young and the older Williams syndrome into the job market. Ever since we started off with just very small, let's say, seats, but nonetheless, throughout the years, then we have been able to shape a better program with the main goal, and there you would have it there, you can see there, is really to promote a nationwide employment program aiming at the inclusion of individuals with Williams syndrome. I say nationwide because us as an association, we are based in Madrid, and sometimes it is a bit hard to then sort of convince, and then there are families that eventually they may be based, I don't know, in the northeast, in Galicia, for example, that they say, yeah, but you do everything for the people that are in the center, and it is not true. If there is a need, then we really make sure that we put on the resources that are in our hands, but of course, those are the families that need to trigger that request and that need to make sure that they let us know that they want to be involved in such a program. As I said, throughout the years it has sort of evolved, but I can focus in 6 different pillars that we have. So one of them is we make sure that we have employment orientation sessions with the Williams and the families to know what they would like to work on. We make sure that we train the social and labor skills that may be needed for the job eventually. We also have a program in which we support them in the study and the training to go through national examinations to join the public administration. This is something that in the last years the Spanish government has developed where they have specific openings that are focusing on individuals with different kinds of disabilities. But it was not the case before. Then we also have a traineeship program. It doesn't mean that then afterwards they will be hired, but nonetheless it's there. And where we put the focus is the supported employment, which are the cases that you will see afterwards. And then we also make sure that we not only give the support to the Williams syndrome people, but also to the companies themselves. In the event they run into cases where they are going through, let's say, a stressful situation, so that the colleagues, they know how to take care of it and actually make sure that they are sort of accompanied through it. And last but not least, by the way, with the support of job coaches that are able to cater or to go through that, through the pillars that I mentioned before. And maybe a comment that is not in the slides, we have different ways to finance this program. So either we have internal fundings, but then we also try to sort of apply for fundings, especially from private companies that eventually may grant us. But nonetheless, we also run into the situation where also those who were benefiting from this program, we had to ask them for some economical support, otherwise it would be financially not viable in the future. Maybe the 3 key areas of success that we believe we have. So what we definitely do is that we support the Williams in their natural surroundings. So it is not that we take them to a job that is very far away from their place. We try to find something in their surrounding, also to make sure that it does not create additional anxiety, which nonetheless they will go through. We don't have a one-size-fits-all approach. Then we really make sure that it's adapted to the needs of the Williams and to the eventual company that they will be in. And as I said at the beginning, then we make sure we try to have that 360-degree approach where we accompany the families, the Williams syndrome, of course, but also the company and other agents that may be involved. The main positions that are currently being offered or that are held by our Williams are they're working as some sort of waiters or waitresses. Of course, they cannot really carry heavy weights, but what they do is that they welcome people in the restaurant, they sit them, they clean the tables, they offer them the menus. Some of them were also in retailing stores, just like in the case of Kiabi, but then afterwards they were sort of, if they were doing their job well, they were also got, I mean, maybe promoted, it's a big word, but nonetheless, I mean, they were taking on and on more responsibility, which is something that we were very thankful of. And then also administrative functions. At the beginning, they were very focused on giving support to other admin, but nonetheless, at some point, they are also capable of doing certain tasks. Then all the ones that we know, even though they are not supported by the program, is some of them even got the chance to become assistants in kindergartens. And the few ones that actually were able to then pass the national examinations, then they have become concierge. But there we only have 2 cases nationwide. Maybe if I can go through the, let's say, main results. I mean, maybe 23 sounds like a very small figure, but nonetheless, for, let's say, a goal objective or around 100 people, we're happy with that. Again, I mean, this englobes all the different actions that we have, but it's already more or less 25%, which is already good. 14 of them, they went through some sort of formation course, even though in the end it didn't lead to unemployment. We have agreements with 3 companies, so one of them is Kiabi, the retailer that I mentioned. The other one is Grupo Vips, which is a big restaurant chain in Spain. That they have different programs, 11 traineeships. Now we were able to get up to 8 unlimited contracts. It doesn't mean that all of them are working on a daily basis, but they are there. Now, where you see that currently we only have 6 people employed. One of the people that had to drop out, one of them was because of effects after having COVID, that he had to get the full invalidation. I don't know how to say that. And then the other one actually was one of the ones that passed the national examination and now has become a civil servant. And in total we have conducted up to 23 awareness sessions in their job places, but also throughout within those companies that were aiming to opening vacancies to these people. Yeah, and maybe just to wrap it up, we have 2 main recognitions. We were given two prizes that are very known in Spain. So one of them was by FEDER, which is the National Federation of Rare Diseases, where basically our program was promoted as let's say, a best practice that could eventually be used by other companies. And then also by the Mapfre Foundation. Mapfre is like the Generali of Spain, so it's a big insurance company, and there we gave them, we also got the recognition and also additional funding to keep on supporting this job. Maybe when it comes to the companies that we made the partnership with, it doesn't mean that they only work with us, but we made sure that we were also present there. And this also goes in line a bit with what I mentioned this morning with the hotel. In Spain we have the issue that I don't know whether it's the case in other countries, where associations where they have a big number of people, then they get the highest number of benefits from other companies. And then something that we're trying to put the focus on is really to fight so that we are also able to benefit from those programs. I mean, I understand that from a big company that eventually maybe put in some sort of CSR strategy in place, it's easy for them, like that they don't have to deal with many stakeholders, but nonetheless, if we don't create that awareness, the fact that the small associations are the ones that are getting the less fundings, we will never make it. So yeah, that was a bit. Yes, and then, yeah, grazie, thank you, gracias. And thank you, by the way, to the translators, to the interpreters that are doing an outstanding job, I need to say. No.
Thank you very much. Alla Germania, Germany.
So, hello everybody. It's been a long day, and please excuse me, I'm not used to be a presenter or presenting things. I try to keep my presentation short and simple so you can follow. And maybe I will need some help, some technical helps, but I try my best. So we want to talk about work opportunities for people with Williams syndrome, and I will give you an overview how the situation in Germany is. So in Germany it started late in school. The people have the right to work is a human right. Participation in working life is a human right, even for people with disabilities. Working at the labor market or sheltered employment, that's the decision you as parents have to do. Normal vocational training or study is not expected for people with Williams syndrome because they do not have the education to stand this the situation. There are different ways for people with special needs become a working member. First, there's the labor market, supported employment, or training to become a professional practitioner. And then you have the supported employment, which means it's gone. Supported employment is suitable for those workers who are at the border of normal intelligence or moderate disability. The person with special needs is working at the labor market and gets special training and support till he can manage the task needed for the job. Training to become a professional practitioner. That means when a person when a person with special needs is not able to pass the education for a profession, it is possible to become a professional practitioner. This is a specialist for this job. The person can go to a vocational training center, and the training is limited in theory and has a special support in practice. Normally, the students live at the training center in a boarding school. Goal at the end is to join the labor market. Working at a workshop for disabled people, this is the way the most disabled people in Germany does, and I think in our association that should be around 80% who goes this way. So when people with special needs come to a workshop for disabled people, they start with the entry procedure, which lasts for 3 months. After this, they join the vocational training area. The next 2 years, they learn a lot about working safety, different equipments and tools. They do a lot of practitioner trainings and various departments of the workshop. And after this training time, they decide in which department of the workshop they want to work. Some departments are outside workstations. That means these departments are near the labor market, like restaurants, cafes, gardeners, and so on. but it's still a sheltered area. Working time is shortened, and they have more breaks and holidays compared to the labor market. Then we heard about day support centers. We have those in Germany too. Some of our children are very sensitive. They cannot stand the stress of an employment, even if it's in a protected area. They go to stay to support centers. Depending on their personal condition, they learn life practical things. There they can have therapies like physical therapies and occupational therapy. They get daily structure and they are cared for. Even there come people who cannot speak, cannot walk, cannot do anything. They go to those day support centers. It's not a really working, but they have the feeling they are included into the working market. So, inclusion factories, these are private things. Inclusion factories are independent companies. They have their own system of training for the jobs they offer. The employers are in a supported setting and got special trainings and support. This work is more like the labor market and suitable for people with special needs who already had educational training and are ready for the labor market, or those who need additional coaching. In Germany we have a lot of hotels like we saw before, and we have restaurants and some factories doing some crafts they sell in their shops and so on. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. John Lowell. Yes, they're still? Okay, welcome. You have the slides.
Hello everybody. Although I'm sadly unable to join you in Rome this weekend, I wanted to extend my best wishes to you all for a productive, insightful and enjoyable conference. I hope you're all having a great time so far and that you'll continue to make the most of the opportunity you have of being together at the hospitality of the Italian Association. Having served as president of FUSE for the last 5 years, one of the strengths of our community that I have admired the most is the enormous effort and talent that so many people invest in learning from each other, building awareness together, and above all, celebrating the unique and wonderful contribution. Although I'm sadly unable to join you in Rome this weekend, I wanted to extend my best wishes to you all for a productive, insightful, and enjoyable conference. I hope you're all having a great time so far and that you'll continue to make the most of the opportunity you have of being together at the hospitality of the Italian Association. Having served as president of FUSE for the last 5 years, one of the strengths of our community that I have admired the most is the enormous effort and talent that so many people invest in learning from each other, building awareness together, and above all, celebrating the unique and wonderful contribution that our extended Williams family bring to all of our lives. As a father of a beautiful son with Williams syndrome, I know only too well that challenges, frustrations, and fears are also a feature of our lived experiences. I'd therefore like to extend my particular gratitude to those of you that have dedicated your professional knowledge, skill, and purpose to supporting our families and friends living with Williams syndrome. Without you, our lives in this modern and increasingly complicated world would be infinitely more challenging. So, on behalf of everyone connected to FUSE and the wider Williams community, I thank you. I'm especially pleased to see that there is attention being given to the challenges and opportunities for adults with Williams syndrome on the agenda for this weekend's conference, particularly in relation to employment markets. For many years, the bias of our collective focus has leaned towards children and their families. There are good reasons for this, of course, but we also know that some of the most significant challenges and difficulties that our community faces arise during adulthood. This is in no small part because of a lack of inclusion in the world of work, where opportunity for those living without a disability is often taken for granted, whilst at the same time being so difficult to come by for those held back by exclusion. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Fuse colleagues when we meet for our annual general meeting tomorrow about the lessons learned and the opportunities for building a world of better opportunity for the adults in our community living with Williams syndrome. Sadly, for me at least, my Fuse colleagues may not agree, the AGM tomorrow will be my last as president of Fuse. I've had to take the difficult decision to step back from some commitments for a while, and so I will be passing on the honour of that role to somebody else from our family of member associations. For those of you that I've had the opportunity to meet and work with during my time as president, I would again like to say thank you. I've valued your support, counsel, inspiration and friendship more than I can really say, and I wish you all the very best for the future. Lastly, let me say a huge thank you to Leopoldo, Maria, Filippo, Pierfrancesco and everybody at the Italian Association for all of the work and dedication that you've put into organising and hosting this incredibly rich conference, as well as to all of the speakers that have given their time to sharing their work and insights. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Probably we are now arriving to the conclusion of this conference. I don't know still if there are any questions, discussions. Probably you are all a little bit tired now. And if not, allora, grazie mille. Thank you very much for. And let's hope to organize very soon other conferences. It's very important to meet each other. È molto importante continuare a vederci e a organizzare altri convegni.
It's very important to keep meeting and organizing meetings that bring us together and share information. I would like to thank the promoter of this international conference, who's not here now with us, and this is setting where we had very interesting inputs yesterday when listening to the researchers and the scholars from Israel, from the United States. We had very interesting inputs, and all of this was an occasion for exchanging and sharing inputs. This was a very, very profitable moment, I would say, successful and profitable.
You